Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Today is Monday, March 2nd, 2026. We welcome you to the March meeting of the Milford Board of Aldermen. Please join me as we salute our flag. Madam Secretary, will you please take the roll?
Alderman Ali.
Present.
Alderman Bannon. Here. Alderman Bevan.
Here.
Alderman Brennan.
Here.
Alderman Casey.
Here.
Alderman Federico.
Here.
Alderman Fowler.
Here.
Alderman Healy. Alderman Height.
Here.
Alderman Lombardi.
Here.
Alderman Picelli.
Here.
Alderman Michael Smith.
Here.
Alderman Winthrop Smith Jr.
Alderman Winthrop Smith Jr. is absent.
Thank you. Alderman Winthrop Smith III.
Here.
Alderman Vitro.
Here.
14 are present.
Thank you, Madam Secretary. We have 14 present. We do have a quorum. The next portion of the meeting is devoted to public comment. Public comment statements are strictly limited to the legislative function of the Board of Aldermen. Please use every effort to limit public speaking to the permissible business of the Board of Aldermen. The time limit granted to each speaker shall be 3 minutes. Residents, taxpayers, and electors may address the board. The board encourages speakers not to express derogatory, insensitive, or offensive statements, or to engage in personal attacks against individuals. Please keep in mind that the structure of our meeting does not allow for a two-way dialogue or to answer any of your questions. Residents can contact their district alderman by phone or email regarding any issue or concern. We welcome and appreciate your comments and concerns regarding city business and community matters, and all will be taken into consideration. Anyone who wishes to address the board can do so at this time. To allow everyone an opportunity to speak, I remind you all to please limit your comments to 3 minutes. Please begin by clearly stating your name and address for the record.
Thank you. All right, my name is TJ Theodorson. I own 727 East Broadway. I currently live in in Fairfield, Connecticut. I've owned East Broadway since 2005. My family and I enjoyed many great summers, Milford Yacht Club, etc. As my kids got older, we decided to use it more and more as a short-term rental. It's gone well, and I think we run it. I run it very well. No parties, have a lot of strict rules, but I want to address some of the information that's going around about short-term rentals in general and in Milford, okay? So heard this one the other day, that 59% increase in short-term rentals year over year. That's not correct. I subscribe to Air DNA, which is a database of short-term rentals. Milford has basically been flat over the last 3 years in terms of short-term rentals. Air DNA and my database show about 134 short-term rentals right now. So anyway, there's no massive increase. I think housing affordability has been talked about, sort of strong words like eroding the housing market, etc. Again, 134 short-term rentals in Milford that are listed. It doesn't have it all. It's not an exact database, or we can't find it exactly, but out of 22 or 23,000 housing units in Milford. I think that also a lot of those people have actually worked hard. I rebuilt after Sandy into a brand new house to make these homes better and better housing stock. Third misconception is corporate ownership, that big corporations are coming in out of town, wealthy owners. I went through with my assistant all Airbnbs listed. I use the Airbnb database, it's obviously the major one. Out of the 130 properties I found, there's 135 according to AirDNA, 111 are owned by one person, that's it, not dual owners. 8 owners own 2 properties, 1 owner owns 3 properties. The average ownership time of those people, and I have the whole database, is 10 years. They've owned for 10 years. It's not a massive influx. I think there's issues, you know, like with any situation, I guess especially with hospitality, there are some bad actors, right? There's some people who either they don't know or they don't care, they're inexperienced, whatever. They do allow parties and big, you know, events that they should not have. You know, there should be and needs to be a way to regulate that. Airbnb tries to do it. I think there's a number of ideas that could be done. I think, you know, there's a lot of benefits beyond you know, obviously there's benefits to the owners, but there's benefits to the town, to people spending money here, people getting to know the area. You know, I know a lot of people who have been, you know, renters are now owners in Milford. It introduces Milford as a beautiful town, only getting better and better. As the beach gets better and better, the side streets get better and better, and people build those houses and build them up. So I think that, you know, in discussions about regulation on short-term rentals, the data needs to be, you know, properly viewed and analyzed. I will send this out to, I know my alderman, I sent her some of this information, but this is just an information sheet about that I can back up all of it on what the current, at least some of the statistical state of the short-term rental market in Milford is. Thank you very much.
Hello, how are you? My name is Tristan Haller, 75 Peak Avenue. Some of you will remember my name from the emails. We're going to talk about Flock cameras for a hot second here. All right, Milford has a contract with Flock cameras. We have 31 cameras, access to all their systems. Over the past few months, I've emailed with my alders, the mayor's office, and the police chief. Curious about this. You know, the transparency the city has shown has been phenomenal. Some of you who don't know, might not know what these are. They're called license plate readers, right? But they're far more than that. Flock's AI vehicle fingerprint technology identifies the vehicle's type, make, color, and distinguishing features like roof racks, dents, bumper stickers. This is all retained in a rolling 30 days on Flock's servers. These are not just license plate readers. They're comprehensive surveillance cameras. The license plate simply is an indexing tool, so they can search, right? So if you go into the system, you type in your license plate, there's 30 days of video of you driving all over the city. You know, you've done nothing wrong. Anybody, a third-party actor having that data is bad, very bad, okay? On February 9th, I pulled this data. I was researching to speak for the Board of Finance budget hearing, and I pulled some data. On February 11th, that data was no longer there. This has been addressed with the mayor's office and Chief Mello. You know, I shouldn't be the guy finding this. You know, I'm just a resident. You know, this is why we elect you guys. So, you know, it has been addressed. There are changes coming that Chief Mello has expressed to me. You know, the mayor's office is aware. You know, this Flock end, the back end is not as secure as people think it is. You know, there are people, it's not working here in Connecticut. It is working in Milford. It's not working in Connecticut and other places around the country. Just a few weeks ago, Windsor has voted to turn their cameras off. All right, across the country, cities have found unauthorized users in their Flock systems and are removing these cameras. Local and national media have reported that these systems are being accessed by the federal government and others without permission. My concern isn't necessarily the Milford Police Department. You know, Chief Mello has built trust with me there, and you guys, my alders and the mayor. So that was great. You know, the transparency has been phenomenal. My problem's with Flock. I don't think the city should be in business with Flock. I don't like how they run business, and the risk of malicious third party gaining access to your daily movements, my daily movements, it's not necessarily a good thing. You know, I'm not anti-camera, but I am against Flock. These type of things are a tool for the future. You know, they keep costs down for the police department. They do help. The more local we can keep this data, the better. You know, so I'm asking this board to do a full review of Milford's contract data security practices with Flock. What you do with this information is up to you. Just figured I'd let you know. Thanks a lot.
Good evening. My name is Robert Leedy, 830 West River Street, and I'm a Milford homeowner. My wife and I live in our home and operate a small 2-bedroom Airbnb unit within it. We've invested heavily to meet every city requirement, and the income is essential to how we afford to live here, especially given my wife's significant mobility limitations from Charcot-Marie tooth disease. In 2025, our unit was booked for 168 nights, with an average stay of just over 3 nights. Our well-vetted guests are usually families visiting relatives, people here for medical care or work, and neighbors visiting family when they just don't have enough room. These visitors typically need a long weekend or a few days, not a full week or a month. These concerns are valid, but 7 or 30-night minimum stays are a blunt tool. They will hurt smaller, responsible operators like us and many of our neighbors without effectively solving the problems. Regarding nuisance behavior, we already have ordinances covering noise, parking, trespass, and disorderly conduct. The issue is not that our laws permit bad behavior, but that enforcement has not focused on the relatively small number of properties that generate most complaints. A party house can book a 7-night stay just as easily as a 2-night stay. What matters is whether the owner or manager is reachable and committed to be a good neighbor. On housing, there is an understandable concern about units being removed from the long-term market, but there is a big difference between someone running 1 or 2 units, often to help afford their own housing, and someone running many units as a pure lodging business. If we lump everyone together and attack length of stay, we miss those differences and punish people who aren't the source of the problem. Instead of focusing on how many nights a guest stays, I'm asking you to focus on impact and accountability. First, require registration for all short-term rentals with a designated local 24/7 contact. Whether the owner lives in Milford or nearby, there should be a clearly identified person who can respond promptly when issues arise. Second, create a simple, escalating enforcement system tied to that registration. Use the nuisance laws we already have, track substantiated violations by address, and after a certain number of verified incidents, allow the city to suspend or revoke the property's registration. That targets repeat problem properties directly. Third, set operating standards based on neighborhood impact, not on booking patterns. Limit overnight guests to legal bedrooms, set clear parking expectations, and explicitly prohibit using short-term rentals as event venues for large parties. Those standards protect neighbors whether guests stay 2 nights or 10. Fourth, consider scale. Someone operating 1 or 2 well-run units is very different from someone operating many units as a de facto hotel network. You can explore modest caps or additional requirements that apply only above a certain number of units, so regulation is proportionate to the impact on the housing stock. What I'm asking you not to do is rely on the blanket length of stay rules as your primary solution. They will cut off short, practical stays that serve families, patients, and local visitors and help smaller hosts, some with disabilities or fixed incomes, stay in their homes while doing little to stop the worst actors. Many of us in Milford are not opposed to regulation. We are asking for smart, targeted rules that distinguish between responsible and irresponsible operators and between small and large-scale impacts. Our Airbnb is not a speculative investment. It is part of how we sustain our life here in Milford. Please focus your ordinance on behavior, accountability, and scale rather than arbitrary length of stay limits that would harm families like ours while leaving the true problem properties largely untouched. Thank you for your time and your service to the city.
Hi, good evening. Michael Mecca, 749 East Broadway. Similar to TJ's story, we built our home prior to Irene and Sandy Lived there for many years, and as our kids got older, we decided to use it as a short-term rental. I'll just kind of give a brief history. Milford's identity was built on seasonal tourism. The shoreline served as a major summer rental hub since the late 19th century. So the short-term rental is not a new phenomenon by any means. The short-term rentals, they contribute significantly to Milford's economy, support our local restaurants, shops, service providers. At our short-term rental, my wife has created a pretty extensive what-to-do guide. So it tells people where to eat out, where to shop, visit local sites, and this obviously supports stimulating the local economy with this, the special focus on small businesses. The people bring a lot of energy to our downtown and our shoreline areas, and it supports tourism in Milford. We specifically attract families that rent from us year after year, and it's true that a lot of people in my situation have the same people over and over. Any blunt weapon that restricts short-term rentals really could have a pretty negative effect, right? It could decrease property values, and specifically for those who rely on rental income to maintain their homes and pay the high property tax that being on the beach kind of entails. And if you look around, I think TJ mentioned this, some of the rental properties are usually some of the best looking and best maintained properties in town. There are a lot of people take a lot of pride in representing that and are kind of really happy to share their home and share Milford with people that want to move here. I should also mention, in addition, it provides a benefit at the state level, which filters down to, as you guys know, to our towns. There's a 15% occupancy tax, and there's another 6.35% state sales tax that we incur. As I mentioned before, it really does bring some good people to Milford. And kind of like myself, we rent it in the summer, and because we loved it so much and my kids loved it so much, after 5 or 6 years, we ended up buying a house. And we bought a house that wasn't raised, got destroyed by Sandy, and raised it higher. And that's probably, my story is not alone. I'm sure there's a lot of other people like that. And just my last thing, I think a lot of the problems that are here, I think, as many other people said, there are noise complaints, party constraint, we're not for that. We don't allow that. We don't want that. And so I think, enforcing the current ordinances could be very helpful. Thank you.
Thank you for your time this evening. I'm Adam Negri. I own Venus and Mars property. I'm a broker, and I own 121 Merwin Avenue. And there's an agreement I think we can all come to straighten this out in a sense. It's running on its own. It needs some guidance, and it needs to structure this so that the neighborhood has the ability, to be comfortable and relaxed. To prevent any concentration of too many units in too close a space, and to work collectively together where you're able to have mandatory and annual licensing, to check out for distressed properties, inspect them, go through them, also have us do a density restriction, occupancy for parking of 2 people in a bedroom for 1 car, and minimize some of these STRs that you're calling them. They're short-term rentals for people who come to Milford, which I'm from Reading. I never realized how nice it was until we came up here, and it's got a beautiful experience during the summertime. If you were to close down this part of this business, you're going to hurt the local economy because you're not going to be able to service these people who want to come here and stay. There's some great places that these people have. They take care of them and maintain them very well. So you've got landscapers who will be affected. You've got restaurateurs that are affected. You have it just trickles down. And then there's not going to be any place for them to stay because you only have 12 hotels and motels in this area. So it doesn't help anybody. Restrictions, I wouldn't go for restrictions, but working collectively together where you're able to come in and say, these are some of the reasons that things that need to be done so that it works out well is important. And we work collectively together. I think that there are some bad people that shouldn't be in business, just like there are all over the place. And they have the opportunity that it's like, okay, one time you get a fine, second time you get a bigger fine, third time you get suspended for a time, fourth time you lose your ability to play the game, and you're done. And then the town steps in and you have control over it. And I think that that's fair. And I think it's fair to the people who live there as well, because why should they put up with people partying like, they shouldn't? You know what I mean? Getting sick on their front lawn or parking their car in a place where someone can't get by. I mean, again, and you run the other side of that story too, is that you have, other people that are here that are sensitive. I'll leave you with one thing, and I thank you for your time. We have no children in the school system. So we're contributing to the school system and gladly do it. There's no burden from our end on that part. Thank you for your time.
Good evening, everyone. Thanks for being here. Thanks for your service. I know what it feels like to sit on that side. I did it in Ansonia for almost 10 years. My name's Tara Kolakowski. I own 771 East Broadway. A little bit of a history is my aunt bought 771 60 years ago. We've grown up there every summer of our lives. If anyone's walked on East Broadway during the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000, you saw my mother and my aunt in front of the Yellow House on East Broadway. It was Connie and Millie. Everybody on the beach knew them. And generations of our family that are in Florida, Texas, Ohio, South Carolina, now come back and rent so that we can have my first cousins and their children and my nieces and nephews and great nieces and great nephews come back to Milford. Because for us, it's a love of this place. Every summer of my life I spent here. I've lived in La Jolla, California. I've lived in Chicago. I've traveled all over the world. To me, there's not a better beach, family beach, that generations come to with the love than that beach on East Broadway. And I'm gonna get a little choked up because the only way that we can see this extended family and these generations come back is if we have the ability to rent for a week or two. And I love the gentleman, I don't know his name, but from that that guy, that laid out all of those great ideas and those steps. That's perfect. That makes everyone accountable. But please, please, I impeach all of you. Do not persecute the good owners, the owners that take responsibility for their houses and for their renters. I have a clause, 10 p.m. to 9 a.m. There's no noise. If anybody's making noise after 10 p.m., it's me and my family. I'll guarantee that. And if the police are called, absolutely, officer, we're good. We'll tone it down. I can't implore you enough to say, please do not implement a 30-day minimum or a 14-day minimum. I know I forwarded to everyone on the board emails from renters that have been coming for 7, 10, 12 years. I know there'll be more that will send you emails about how they raise their children here. Every year, there's a house next to me. They come in, every year they have another kid. They're now at 5. Last year they had a new one. His name was Lennox. He's a brand new baby boy. It's great. They all come in and they're like, Tara. I said, hi guys, you got a new baby brother. And they love it. And hopefully one day they'll buy a house on Milford, or they'll just continue the tradition of coming here every single year. So it is with my heartfelt, I get very choked up and I apologize, but it's very near and dear to my heart that you keep this open for everyone, for generations to come back and enjoy this beach and enjoy it with their families. Thank you very much. Thank you for your time and your service. I know it's not easy, and again, just keep an open mind with this. Thank you very much.
Good evening. My name is Bob Dickinson, and I live at 30 Grant Street in Milford. My topic today is the much-needed regulations in Milford for short-term rentals, also known as Airbnbs and VRBOs. Because of Milford's attractiveness in beaches, we are in the bullseye of attracting an unprecedented level of investors in short-term rentals. Milford has experienced a 59% increase in short-term rentals year over year. That statistic came off the Airbnb website. Since the February Board of Aldermen meeting, a petition for strict ordinances on short-term rentals in Milford has been circulated online on change.org. As of today, 294 signatures of Milford residents have been put onto the petition, and the numbers are growing. The petition describes problems such as the loss of long-term housing, noise, parties, and parking problems. The petition urges a strict short-term rental ordinance that includes minimum stay requirements in addition to limits on occupancies, noise, and events. I brought copies of the petition for your review. May I approach? I noticed in the minutes from the February 2nd Board of Aldermen meeting that the mayor commented on the short-term ordinance. The minutes read, and I read specifically from the minutes, he provided an update on the ongoing work related to the short-term rental ordinance, emphasizing the importance of balancing the rights of short-term rental property owners with those of neighboring residents. It's common knowledge that Laurel Beach has a minimum 30-day rental rule and that the mayor lives there under those protections. Investors take investment risks. Short-term rental property owners have put a commercial business in a residential neighborhood. No one is going to take away their assets. They'll simply need to repurpose them a bit. I would encourage the ordinance committee to draft strict short-term rental ordinance with a 30-day minimum stay and maximum occupancy limits to protect Milford, our neighborhoods, and our citizens. Thank you.
Good evening, I'm Don Fernandez, 27 Cedar Hill Road, here in Milford. I'm here tonight to voice my support in the reopening of the city charter. Looking at the document online, it was revised 11 times from 1959 to 1983. A generation has passed since our foundational document was last revised. As Milford has evolved in the last 40 years, so should that document. Expectations around transparency, technology, and civic participation have changed dramatically. Looking at it, the language of just sitting in town is inconsistent through the document. Boards and commission titles are inconsistent. The rights of municipal employees to serve as elected officials, I feel can be clarified in that. The timing of events, especially around like budgetary requirements, and those timings have not been changed since the 80s. Several municipalities have sitting boards that their charter is to look at the foundational documents of how their municipality is run. I think Milford could certainly have that. Reopening the charter is this Board of Aldermen's chance to ensuring that there's clarity in the governance of Milford, in strengthening public trust, and confirming that our governing framework reflects the needs and realities of today. Thank you so much.
It's a long trek from back there. Good evening, guys. John Grasso, G-R-O-S-S-O, 267 Oak Ridge Lane. First, thank you all for being here. Since my wife and I moved to Milford 6 years ago, we fell head over heels in love with this city, and the work that you guys do on a daily basis is what keeps us great. So I appreciate that very much. I also want to thank you for being open to what I'm going to say and being open to citizen comment. It's not the same, but I am the president of the Lexington Green Homeowners Association, so I've been in your shoes. It's not sometimes a fun experience. So thank you, I appreciate it very much. I come to you tonight to unequivocally and fully endorse the opening of the Milford City Charter for contemporary, common sense revisions. As you all know, as was said right before me, the charter was last revised in 1983, which was 9.5 years before I was even born. Multiple generations of Milford citizens, including my daughter and my next daughter-to-be, which phone is on the table in case I get that call, have been born under a charter that was written and revised for a certain period of time in a certain era. I'm not going to waste my limited time regaling you with how the world has changed since 1983. I think if we all looked at our phones, we'd see how the world has changed since 6 o'clock. But literally every aspect of American life and society is different, and it's much harder. The role of government, as you all know, you take part in it every day, is to live in a symbiotic relationship with the people governed. And that can't happen without a living document, not one that's collecting the dust of previous eras and administrations. Mayor Smith's agenda for the charter revisions, in my opinion, is very level-headed. It's above reproach. Correcting out-of-date articles to ensure alignment with the state is a no-brainer. Updating language throughout the document should have been done years ago. Looking at the charter with the eyes of 2026 to ensure relevant purchasing requirements, budget timelines, and the like are necessities for this world. And I do believe that 4-year terms for the offices of mayor and city clerk are well worth considering right now for long-term stability and continuity of government in a world that is rapidly becoming unstable and untrustworthy. Milford is the exception to that. Of course, any revision needs to be done carefully and with debate. That's what you guys are here for. But it is also my understanding that there are safeguards in place to ensure that all relevant parties, most specifically and acutely Milford citizens, have a say in the revisions, including a referendum and what I'm sure will promise to be a consequential November election. The mayor's proposals are reasonable, measured, and in my opinion, urgent. Milford needs a charter that serves the needs of its people now, not a charter mired in nostalgia for a previous era that unfortunately will never return. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Felicia Shashinka. I live at 60 Ocean Avenue, and I'm here tonight as the president of the Wildermere Beach Association. I want to express my support for the city moving forward with an ordinance addressing short-term rentals, including properties listed on platforms such as VRBO and similar services. Short-term rentals have evolved into a significant business model. While they may provide economic benefit to property owners, they also have a direct impact on the residential neighborhoods, particularly when the property owner is not present, nor there is not a local person available to address issues in real time. In our beach community, we have experienced these challenges related to noise, parking, trash, occupancy limits, and general oversight. When problems arise, neighbors often have no way to quickly reach a responsible party. This places an unfair burden on residents and, at times, on local police and code enforcement. If short-term rentals are operating as a business, there should be clear rules, accountability, and enforcement standards to protect integrity of our neighborhoods. Our residents are not asking to eliminate short-term rentals. We are asking for reasonable regulation, accountability, and the enforcement so that our neighborhoods can remain livable and safe. Thank you for your time.
Good evening, Board. Dan Gurman, 114 Beach Avenue, Milford, and longtime restaurant, lifetime long resident of Milford. So I've been here a long time. I'm here speaking in favor of Airbnb and VRBO. I've had a Airbnb space for 5 years now and have never had an issue. I do have some rules. You can't have any more people than you have bedrooms. So if you have a 2-bedroom or 1 bedroom, you have 2 people. If you have a 2-bedroom, maybe 4 people. So you can't have a ton of people there. I have a quiet time, after 10 p.m., and before 8 a.m., quiet time, so you can't, be making a lot of noise during those times. So rules need to be applied, and if you're not there to enforce them, or nobody's there to enforce it, of course, people get out of control. But if you let them know way ahead of time that there is rules and you're there, you're going to call them out on it, usually they behave. I've had it for 5 years and I've never had an issue. But other things, people do come to Milford and they do enjoy short-term rentals for, a few days or a week or whatever. I've had some people that have come here and enjoyed their rentals and have enjoyed it so much that they end up, buying a house here. So I think it brings a lot of people into Milford, spending money here, enjoying Milford, loving Milford, and eventually, buying in Milford. If people do have rentals that are out of control, police can be called and go over and address the issue, and usually people will, calm down or quiet down pretty quickly. So I don't see any problems with it. I've done it, like I said, for 5 years and never had an issue, and there's a lot of people in Milford that use them, so that's it. Thank you very much for your time.
My name is Tom Lawler, live at 68 Green Street, and my wife and I also own 43 Stowe Ave in the Walnut Beach area. What I have is an ask of you that you've probably already come to the same conclusion for yourself in terms of where you want to go. Tori and I, we made an investment in Milford, taking certain monies for both an investment vehicle as well as it's a place that family and friends can now come and stay, that we go to when we want to get away and feel like we're just at the beach. I've lived in Milford. I grew up in Wethersfield, but I've lived in Milford longer than I've lived anywhere. Love this town. We've both been part of boards in the United Way and YMCA. I'm also a consultant, a process improvement consultant, and I've traveled the world. I was literally in Malaysia and Taipei in December. I was in Austin last week with the likes of Toyota, Dell, Intel, Cisco, Georgia Pacific. These are the kind of big, mean organizations we work with on their large processes. I don't think I disagreed with anything that the woman from Wildermere Beach said. I think she would be considered on the opposite side of the aisle in terms of what we want as STR owners. My ask is, I think there's really a common solution without blanketing with an East Haven type, hey, you have to live in the house for 183 days. You have to take the Laurel Beach rule and blanket over across the rest of Milford. What I see is in some of the language that I see in the petition and elsewhere in posts are what we would call emotional language in consulting. The always, the never. I got to sift through that to see what's the real issue underlying, right? And what are the actual facts and the data. Today I've heard 2 points of data and they conflict with each other. So the question is, what's the real data that will inform this decision to say what's the root cause? Too often we see organizations move in a direction and they think they're solving the problem. We got to get it to the customer faster. The customer didn't ask for faster, they asked for when. When am I going to get my first check? Just fill that black hole and answer the right question. So that's my ask, is that we look at the underlying root issues, 2 legitimate issues potentially. 1, affordable housing, how big of an issue, and are the STRs driving that? And 2, the noise and disruption. I don't think any of us who are here as homeowners of STRs want anyone or think anyone should have to deal with that. We don't want to deal with it as residents of Milford or residents in our own town if we don't live here. So that's my simple ask of you. Thank you very much.
Good evening, Chairman and ladies and gentlemen of the Board of Aldermen. I'd like to approach to hand out what I'm going to speak about tonight. My name is Pasquale Civitella, 746 East Broadway. I'm also president of the Silver Beach Association in our neighborhood, and I represent all of our members, including myself, with this situation in our neighborhood. And as you can see that I just passed out, if you could take a look at the picture section that I've enclosed. And this is just one event during the last summer. And this is an ongoing event almost daily during the summertime. As you can see on page 1, you see there the police officers, you see parking tickets, you see vehicles blocking the intersection, and this is an on and on and on situation all the time. Page 1 bottom, you'll see out-of-state plates all day long parking there, taking parking spaces away from the residents, and then you see a nice pile of trash that they dumped there. So these are actual facts. You know, people come up here and say, oh, we don't do this, we don't allow that, but here's the actual facts. Here's pictures, here's proof. And I just don't understand, you know, why we have to put up with this as a homeowner, as a resident there. Everybody says, you know, they wouldn't want to put up with it, but we actually put up with it on a daily basis down there. There's your proof there. Again, and this is just one day out of 1 week. This happens constantly. I have to constantly call the police in the summertime on an average of 2 to 3 times a day because of the parking situation down there. And the safety, the speeding, you got the bus coming down there. It's just not right. So just here's an example of just what recently happened. Approximately midnight on February 22nd, which was last week, during the middle of the blizzard, across the street at Mr. Mecca's house there, that he says he doesn't allow anything happen to there. At midnight, all of a sudden, screaming and yelling coming out of somebody in front of his house there. Again, in the middle of a blizzard, woke me, my wife, out of sound sleep in the middle of a severe weather when residents are already dealing with dangerous conditions, disruptive routines. This kind of behavior is not just inconsiderate, it's unacceptable. This wasn't normal household noise. It was disruptive, disorderly activity at late hours and create stress, fear, and frustrations for the people who actually live there year-round. Again, all these people that say they don't allow this, don't do that, they're not there. I'm there every day, every night. And this is just not a one-time incident. This is a continual problem with night noise, overcrowding, unfamiliar cars coming and going, general instability of the area. And I just want to make it clear, this is a residential neighborhood. People bought and live here because it's a place for homes, families, and neighbors, not a place where strangers cycle through weekend stays, late night behavior. I did not bargain for this. When I chose to live here, I expect the basic protections that come with residential community: peace, safety, quiet enjoyment of my property. Thank you. Thank you for your service.
Good evening. My name is Denise Biaggi. I live at 812 East Broadway. I did not come here prepared to speak tonight, so forgive me if I jump all over the board after hearing all this. First, I have to say I am petrified because I put all my money into a home that I purchased in Milford. I found Milford from being a realtor and ended up staying here in an Airbnb and completely fell in love with it. I purchased this home for my retirement, and due to my circumstances, my brother had a stroke, so I cannot live in my house full time. If you took my income away from my Airbnb, I would be forced to sell my home. And I think that would happen to a lot of us. And here I'm going to jump around. The statistics are completely wrong. I'm a realtor. I pulled off 0.9% increase for short-term rentals, not 50%. And that petition, many of those signatures are coming from Shelton and Orange, not even Milford. And the parking on East Broadway, it's a state street. I mean, we can't help who parks. It's half of the time not even the Airbnb people. It's people who live there and have a ton of company, or people just coming to visit from wherever they're coming from. I mean, you can't really do anything about it. It's a public road. I'm sure we'd all love it to be private, but we can't help it. But I know that my Airbnb is very strict. It's small. I only allow 4 adults and 1 child. I have never had loud parties. I have quiet time. I have very strict rules, and people love it. I have people coming back again with families. And I believe some of them go to visit the people across the street. I live across from the beach. I love my salty kisses. So there's a lot of different views to look at this. This, for a lot of us, is our livelihood. It's not just a business, it's how we can afford to keep our homes. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Leo Koutikas. I own the Greek Spot Cafe. I also live on East Broadway, 743. I don't have a script or anything, so just bear with me here. First off, what I've been listening to from everybody, I'm right in the heart of it. I've been there now almost 16 years. I'm in the heart of that street. I think what we're forgetting here is I have a business there, okay? I've been there, been going strong. It was tough the first couple of years. We kind of built it up, and the last couple of years I've been getting a lot of pushback. And parking seems to be a problem from certain people. And at first I believed people made me feel like it was me. But then I realized it wasn't me. So if you take a right down our street, there's 10 islands there. Let's just say there's 10 islands, 10 cars on each island. From June to September, before I was even opened, those spots are always taken. Always taken, those 3 months. You don't hear anyone complaining from September to May, okay? It's just those 3 months. So we need to take that into consideration, okay? My point is, this Airbnb isn't causing the parking problem. I'm not causing the parking problem. There's just limited spots. And if you guys realize what just happened down there, they added the yellow line a little further. We just lost 4 spots on each island. That's like 40 spots. Of course you're gonna complain. Fix that problem. Fix the lines. Then maybe we can have a little structure down there. But the Airbnb is not causing the traffic. I'm not causing the traffic. It's a beach community. People love it down there. That's the nature of our street. I mean, yeah, the state parks there. Some people, I don't know why they don't park there. It's just closer. But we can't put a regulation on who's parking down there. The gentleman that spoke before about this beach association, I mean, he said he's the president, but he was self-appointed. Nobody voted for him. He created this on his own with some people. Nobody appointed him. So he doesn't speak for all of us, okay? Until there's a formal voting, I'm not gonna call him the president, okay? And he doesn't speak for all of us down there, you know? So he's called the cops on me, my own neighbor. So I don't know what's going on. I don't understand where this is all going, but that Airbnb situation has helped considerably everybody on our street. We've all invested down there one way or the other. Either you buy a house or, you know, I'm listening to all this. Everyone's in the same boat. The Airbnb is helping us down there. It helps me too. I mean, I make my living off those 3 months, you know, and every year it's getting worse from people calling the cops. This summer, I must have had 100 customers complain to me. Some guy called on me because I parked there for 5 minutes to pick something up. I'm like, I'll never see that guy again. You know, this is the second year, third year now. I mean, every year it says, you guys, they're like pushing me out. The Airbnb is not the problem. You want to put a regulation, you want to maybe tweak it up a little bit, okay, I'm in favor for that. But you can't have one guy speak for everybody. And I think listening to all of us was a great idea. Thank you.
Is there anyone else who'd like to address the board at this time? Seeing none, we'll go on with the rest of the meeting. You've already spoken, ma'am. That's it.
Okay,
3 minutes.
pictures, and that was from out of town. That wasn't Airbnb. It was in front of my house. Because I had loads of people who were standing over.
Agenda item number 3, consideration of minutes. Alderman Pacelli.
Agenda item number 3, consideration of minutes of the regular meeting of the Board of Aldermen held on February 2nd, 2026.
Can I have a second? We have a motion and a second. Is any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Agenda item number 4. There is no consideration of minutes for the special organization meeting, so we'll move on to agenda item number 5, Chairman's report and recommendations. Just want to everyone be aware of that this is month of March is the Women's History Month, and this coming Friday, March 6th, we have the Irish flag raising ceremony at City Hall. That's going to be at noon. And remind everybody that St. Patrick's Day Parade is Saturday, March 14th at Wasson Field at 1 p.m. That's all I have. Agenda item number 6, Mayor's report and recommendations. Is there a report from the mayor?
Thank you, Chairman Vitro, through you. To all the members here, I'm going to give a report for Mayor Smith, who's not able to be here tonight. And for those out in the audience, thank you for coming. And to reiterate what was read out in the February minutes regarding short-term rentals. The mayor's office and the city attorney in drafting an ordinance, we have been in process of looking at it very carefully to strike that balance that we need to between short-term rental owners and the neighbors. So we are working on that, and when we have a final product, it will be brought forth, and we're working on other ordinances as well. So it's been a busy time. So I just wanted to provide that update. So for the mayor's report, good evening, everyone. I apologize for not being here with you this evening. I am out of town attending a family event that I could not miss. Let me begin by recognizing the hard work of so many people in our city that helped us through these back-to-back snowstorms, the most recent one dropping close to 20 inches of snow. Our Public Works team, along with our police and fire, have done an incredible job of protecting the people of Milford. Throughout long shifts, our Public Works employees endured whiteout conditions and significant snowfall to keep our roads clear. Our police and fire also worked along to help navigate us through these really challenging circumstances. I hope some of you may have had a chance to drive through other towns. I believe if you had, you would recognize the extraordinary job that our team delivered for the people of Milford. I also want to thank the Milford residents for their patience and support. I know very well the frustration that many felt waiting for their street to be plowed or upset at the huge snow walls that were erected in their neighborhoods. It was a lot of snow. And one of the most challenging aspects was dealing with the question of where to put it. Our cleanup efforts continue on, and I certainly hope that we have seen the last of winter, and I do see some nice warm temperatures coming up around the corners, so I'm looking forward to it too. So shifting to other non-related news, I recently attended a mayor's meeting at the state capitol with fellow mayors and Senators Looney and Duff, and we discussed state's legislative priorities and ways to strengthen our partnership between state and local governments. Last week, I also took an opportunity to testify in front of the Planning and Development Committee on House Bill 5289, an act concerning the publication of municipal legal notices, which, if passes, would relieve municipalities of the substantial cost of publishing legal notices in a daily newspaper. In the past couple years, we have spent almost up to $200,000 on posting legal notices. So I voiced my support for defining alternative ways to post notices. Very few people actually see the classifieds in one single newspaper. I argued that a more effective and cost-efficient way to post legal notices is on a municipality's website. I'm always looking for ways to reduce the tax burden for our Milford residents. I also want to announce that we have rolled out another process improvement plan. This one has to do with the way we reimburse retirees for Medicare Part B. The old method that we used was convoluted, inefficient, and required issuing paper checks. Now there is more streamlined of a process, and it eliminates paper checks and replaces them with direct deposits. I'd like to recognize Tanya Barnes for her leadership on the Medicare Part B reimbursement initiative, but perhaps more importantly, recognize Sue Carpenter, our benefits and pension coordinator, who actually spearheaded this effort and who will be administering the program going forward. I want to thank both Tanya and Sue and their team for contributing to more efficient city operations. On tonight's agenda, you have before you our annual bonding notice. Please note that this is the smallest bonding authorization request in well over 13 years. So while we attempt to borrow less, we will also continue to focus on retiring outstanding bond debt. And finally, you have before you a resolution requesting we open the city charter. Our charter has not been revised in 43 years, more years than some members have been on this board have been alive. Our charter is out of date and in conflict with standing ordinances and state statutes, along with the need to align our charter to existing laws and ordinances. It is also recommended to extend the term of mayor and city clerk from 2 to 4 years. Many towns around us are making the same change if they haven't already. It is very hard for a mayor to do the work required of him and her in that job if every other year they need to take time to campaign and raise money. The process that will follow should you vote to open the charter is as follows. A group will be appointed and responsible for the recommended charter revisions. This group, the Charter Revision Committee, will hold public hearings and will deliberate those pieces of information. They will also consult with the Board of Aldermen, who will also hold a public hearing, ensuring an abundance of opportunity for public input. The final step in this process is to allow every voter in Milford to weigh in and vote yes or no on the recommended charter changes as a referendum in November. Therefore, there is no clearer example of democracy at work than in the process used for this charter revision. I have recommended the name of 5 people to serve on this committee, people who transcend partisanship and are known across the community as thoughtful, responsible, and nonpartisan. I have the utmost trust in former Mayor Jim Riccitelli, Scott Marlowe, John Major, John Burcham, and Emily Sousa. I am respectfully requesting that we will allow this committee to do the work that awaits them and engage the public for their input, and in the end, provide to the Board of Aldermen a well-thought-out and purposeful revision that we will be proud to put in front of the voters of our great city. To that end, I request the board's consideration of items 8A to 8E.
Thank you much for all that information. We'll move on to agenda item number 7. There is no unfinished business. And now we have to reorder the agenda. Alderman Pacelli.
Thank you, Alderman, Chairman Vitro. I would like to make a motion to reorder the agenda to bring items 8A, 8B, and 8C to follow item 12A.
Second. A motion has been made and seconded to reorder the agenda. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Alderman Pacelli.
Agenda item 8D, Board of Aldermen approval is requested for the attached resolution regarding charter revision.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Is there any discussion? Before we go into discussion, City Attorney Bertram, before discussion, will you please help us to understand the process and outline the steps entailed in opening up the charter?
Mr. Chair, through you, yes, I'll give you a brief overview. Charter review is entirely governed by statute, Chapter 99 of the Connecticut General Statutes. It's Section 7-187 through Section 7-201. So everything, each step of the process is governed by the statutes within Chapter 99. The first step is this legislative body, referred to in the statutes as the appointing authority, but the legislative body, the City of Milford Board of Aldermen, to open the charter needs a 2/3 vote. After, or a petition of electors is also another way to open a charter, but we don't have that before us tonight. You have a resolution before you. The second step in the process, should this board vote 2/3, is the appointment of a charter review commission. No more than 1/3 may hold municipal office, and no more than a bare majority can be from the same political party. That commission has independent authority to review the existing charter, draft proposed amendments, revisions, conduct public hearings, and submit its final recommendations back to you, the board. In terms of the timing of the public hearings, before the Charter Review Commission, should it be formed, is formed, once it's formed, they have to have a public hearing before any substantive work is done. They have to hear from the public, because ultimately the public, the electors, have the final say. After that initial public hearing, the commission would then go to work. The statutes provide for certain time mechanisms. They can have as many hearings as they deem fit. Ultimately, they have to have a hearing after a draft is completed, but before its submission back to this board. Well, actually it goes to the city clerk, who then transmits it to you with any of its recommended changes. At that time, the Board of Aldermen will review it pursuant to General Statute 7-191B. This board is statutorily required to have one public hearing. This board may revise the draft changes of the report that they receive. It then goes back to the committee. That committee can then accept, reject any of the proposed changes to the board that the board has made. The committee then submits a final report to Board of Aldermen, and this board can approve or reject in part. If they approve it, it then goes to the board, to the electorate in the referendum. And that is the process.
Thank you, Attorney Britcham. Any discussion on the motion? You have a discussion? Seeing there's no discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
Roll call vote. Madam Secretary, please.
Alderman Ali?
No.
Alderman Bannon?
Yes.
Alderman Bevan?
No.
Alderman Brennan?
Yes.
Alderman Casey?
No.
Alderman Federico?
Yes.
Alderman Fowler?
No.
Alderman Healy?
Yes.
Alderman Height?
Yes.
Alderman Lombardi?
Yes.
Alderman Pacelli?
Yes.
Alderman Michael Smith?
Yes.
Alderman Winthrop Smith III?
No.
Alderman Vitro?
Yes.
Nine yes, 5 no.
The vote was 9 yes, 5 no. With this particular vote, it had to be 2/3. That means there had to be 10 yeses, so the motion fails. Alderman Pacelli.
Moving on to refunds list. The next one will be
Point of order, Mr. Chairman. I'm not sure if we have to vote on 8E. I understand because the 8D wasn't passed, 8E wouldn't be, the committee wouldn't be able to be formed, but I know it's on the agenda, so I didn't want to skip over it if it has to be addressed in some fashion.
I think we just withdraw it because there's no commission to be needed to be voted upon.
Okay.
So we'll just remove it from the agenda.
Is that okay? I think she.
Yeah, go ahead.
Do you want to?
New business not on the agenda, which may be introduced by 2/3 vote. There's none of that. We'll move on to agenda item number 10. Alderman Pacelli.
Budget memo transfers, there are none. Then I'll move on to item 11, refunds list. Consideration of refunds in the amount of $28,363.71.
Motion has been made and seconded. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Report of standing committees. Ordinance Committee. Alderman Pacelli.
Thank you, Chairman Vitro. Reporting that at the Ordinance Committee, items 12A, 1, 2, and 3 were all approved to be brought before the board for consideration. So I'll start off with item 12A1, an ordinance appropriating $6,050,000 for the design and construction of sanitary sewers and wastewater facilities, and authorizing the issuance of $6,050,000 $50,000 in bonds of the city to meet said appropriation and pending the issuance thereof, the making of temporary borrowings for such purpose.
Motion has been made and seconded. Is there any discussion? Yes, Alderman Healy.
Yes, thank you. I see that Director Saley is here with his staff. Could he give us an update and overview on this particular bond request?
Yes, good evening, everyone. So for our part of it, it's the sewer department. It's $5.5 million plus financing, which I think brings it right around $6 million for a total bonding package for the sewer department. And also $900,000 for sanitation trucks.
Excuse me, I'm sorry. Yes. The other item is not the one we're talking about currently, the 900, but on this particular matter, can you give us an update where you stand overall with this particular bonding request and the system itself in terms of the infrastructure?
I'm sorry, Alderman Healy, I'm having a hard time hearing.
Can you give us an overview in terms of with this bonding request and with additional spending that's already occurred on the system, where we are in terms of this sewer system upgrade that we're currently bonding overall?
As a whole, presently we're doing the Rogers Ave pump station, which is right off of Rogers Ave and Pond Street. It's a significant pump station upgrade. That pump station was built in, I believe, 1984, so it's a little over 40 years old, but it's one of many pump stations that need upgrading. This $5.5 million that we're going to be doing consists of I&I. It consists of lining the older force main that goes from West Ave down Bick Drive, and then a pump station upgrade at Anderson Ave, and then other miscellaneous items, and that's for the 5.5. But there's still significant need within the department in regards to bonding, and we anticipate having significant bonding requests over the next few years.
Thank you. I know in the past you've given everyone the opportunity to tour some of the facilities and to update, so we just wanted to hear from you in terms of status report. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any more discussion? Alderman Smith.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Through you. Evening, Director Saley. I was going to ask any questions tonight, but now that you're up here, I have a couple for you. I wasn't on the board for this, but I know that this board had approved, I believe, and funded a study for these types of upgrades, if I recall that correctly. And so my question would be, would this appropriation amount pursuant to something that came up in the study that is needed for the city, pursuant to that study?
These items that we have bonded presently were recommended by the sewer superintendent, which is Lindsay King. The study that you're referencing hasn't been completed yet because over the last year and a half, 2 years, we've had low I&I coming into the system because of the groundwater being so low. And I'm not sure if anyone has any sump pumps in their houses or in their commercial buildings, but right now the ground level is so low that it doesn't make sense for us to finish the study. And that's Weston and Sampson, our consultant, has recommended pausing the study until we get a new true baseline for where groundwater should be. These are recommendations here, though, are from the superintendent of wastewater, Lindsay King, working with myself and also the consultant.
Understood. Through you, Mr. Chairman, when would that study be paused until? How much was that study? I don't even remember.
It could be another year or two, to be honest with you. If the groundwater doesn't return, the main reason for the study was to see where we have an I&I throughout the whole city. We had some areas, which was Heatherstone, North Milford, which we addressed with some pipelining, but since then, believe it or not, the water levels have gone down so low that we're even treating a lot less. We're almost half of what we're bonded, or not bonded, we're almost half of what we're allowed to treat at both treatment plants, the Housatonic plant and the Beaverbrook plant. So we're way under our capacity right now because of this very dry trend that we're having over the last year and a half to 2 years.
Okay, and does that, where does that money go, the rest of the money that was there, that was supposed to be used for that study?
It's still in a holding pattern until they complete it, and I believe we're going to be reimbursed 55% from the state on that money.
Okay, so that was paid to the state.
We will get 55% of whatever the total dollar amount from the state reimbursed for the study.
And maybe this is a better question through you, Mr. Chairman, to Finance Director Ardici. Is that coming back to the city's general fund, or where is that coming to once we get reimbursed for that 55%?
Through you, Mr. Chairman, to Alderman Smith III. Yes, it will actually go back to the project where the allocation transfer went in. If I may redirect to Director Saylor, you're referring to the study that was funded by the Clean Water Fund grant itself?
That's correct, yes.
So with that said, through you, Mr. Chairman, yes, the reimbursement will go back to the project that was set up with that money. And if it's not used by wastewater for wastewater purposes, then it would be returned to the general fund eventually. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and through you to Finance Director Ardici. How much is that amount?
I believe the budget, if I'm not mistaken, they've spent about, and correct me if I'm wrong, Director Saley, a little over 400,000, but I can check that for you.
Yes, I can get you the exact amount, but I wouldn't want to say it, but it's close to that, Peter.
And forgive me, that's 400,000. That represents the 55% reimbursement that would come back to the city, so the city would receive 400,000. Is that right?
No, that would be the amount that they've spent to date
Okay, so
doing the work.
how much would be coming back to the city?
I can get you the exact amount, but if my memory reminds me, I think the total project was $685,000. We'd get 55% of that. But don't hold me to the exact number. I can get you that tomorrow, though.
Okay, so 55%.
Once the study is completed.
Yeah, so 55% of that 600,000 would come back.
685,000, 55% of the 685,000.
And again, I apologize for having to belabor this point through you, Mr. Chairman. Who paused that study?
The consultant with direct contact with myself and Lindsey King. He didn't think it was prudent. He thought it was wasteful to try to do a study when there was no water coming into the system.
And when did this happen?
Approximately a year and a half ago, when we hit the trend where it was just a very dry spell, which we continue to have.
So it was paused then a year and a half ago, you're saying?
Approximately, yes.
Okay. Thank you, Director.
You got it.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Any other discussion on the motion? Alderman Casey.
Through you to Director. So how many public pumping houses, station houses, we currently have? I thought it was 5. Is that right, or 4? Or?
I apologize. I don't know.
No, how many pumping stations do we have?
In the whole city?
Yeah.
The two major pump stations we have are West Ave and Gulf Pond. Those are our two biggest pump stations. We have approximately 42. We have some small ancillary ones that are smaller ones, like Gulf Beach has a pump station. It's technically considered a pump station, but it's a seasonal pump station, along with where Scooby-Doo's is. There's another pump station there. That's a seasonal pump station. They're really just smaller pumps. It's not a traditional big pump station. So the biggest ones, like I said, are West Ave and Gulf Pond, and then we have another 42.
And how's it characterized the current sewer system? Is better or say about the same, or how, prior to like maybe 10 years ago?
Well, I don't know if it's better or worse. I think the issue is it's a continuous process. These pumps run 24/7, 365, so there's always maintenance on the pumps. There's always replacement areas. And I would highly recommend that if, it would be very beneficial not only to see the pump stations, but also to come to the treatment plants. It's pretty impressive what goes on.
Because when I was like 10 years ago, you were concerned about the flushables, not flushables. You shouldn't flush, and it was like really a problem. So because that's people are educated now, you can't flush them down the toilet, or it's not as pressing problem now.
Alderman Casey, I will say, you brought up a very bad subject.
Okay.
But I will tell you that the flushables are not flushable, and people do flush them.
Yeah.
And it's costing the city hundreds of thousands of dollars a year to vac out these wet wells and to remove this material, which is, they claim they're biodegradable, they're not. They clog the pumps, they cause significant issues with the treatment of the effluent that's coming into the system. It's a pain in the neck.
Yeah.
And it's going to continue to be.
Yeah, so people still haven't gotten the message, I guess, or?
Yeah, I'd highly recommend you come to one of these plants, and then you'll really.
But it's any better or not?
No, it's
okay,
not. No,
okay.
it's not.
Unfortunately, okay.
Yeah, there's more maintenance involved with it, and having companies come in, private companies come in and vac out the wet well. And just to give you, so the wet well is where the water comes into the pump station. And in that wet well, there's what they call a blanket. The rags rise to the top, and it almost looks like a piece of concrete. It's a very challenging with grease and other solids. So.
Okay, and forgive my ignorance, but like the upgrades, they don't well address that issue because that's not, it's not, currently there's no cure for people.
It's just people stop using them.
Yeah, okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
And I think that I want to flip to the director of finance. So I heard the message about, Mayor Smith about, we were reducing our bonding, debt. So can I give an overview, like how is the, what is the, give me a good trend of whether we go incurring more debt or less debt, or about the same?
Through you, Mr. Chairman, to Alderman Casey. One comment that I'll make is that historically over the past 10 years or so, this bonding request is the lowest compared to over a decade of bond requests. If you looked at all the authorizations over the past 10 or 12 years, if you took the average, it would be about 19 million. So this request, as you can see, is lower than that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Alderman Pacelli.
Agenda item 12A2, an ordinance appropriating $990,000 for various public improvements and authorizing the issuance of $990,000 in bonds of the city to meet said appropriation and pending the issuance thereof, the making of temporary borrowings for such purpose.
Motion has been made and seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Alderman Pacelli.
Agenda item 12A3, an ordinance appropriating $5,940,000 for various school improvements and authorizing the issuance of $5,940,000 in bonds of the city to meet said appropriation and pending the issuance thereof, the making of temporary borrowings for such purpose.
Motion has been made and seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? No. Roll call vote, Madam Secretary, please.
Alderman Ali?
Yes.
Alderman Bannon?
Yes.
Alderman Bevan? Yes. Alderman Brennan?
Yes.
Alderman Casey?
Yes.
Alderman Federico?
Yes.
Alderman Fowler?
No.
Alderman Healy. Alderman Height.
Yes.
Alderman Lombardi.
Yes.
Alderman Pacelli.
Yes.
Alderman Michael Smith.
Yes.
Alderman Winthrop Smith III.
No.
Alderman Vitro.
Yes.
12 yes, 2 no.
The vote were 12 yes, 2 no. The motion passes. Alderman Pacelli.
Going back to agenda item 8A, Board of Aldermen approval is requested for the attached resolution regarding cash advance for design and construction of sanitary sewers and wastewater facilities 2026.
Motion has been made and seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Alderman Pacelli.
Agenda item 8B, Board of Aldermen approval is requested for the attached resolution regarding cash advance for various public improvements 2026.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Alderman Pacelli.
Agenda item 8C, Board of Aldermen approval is requested for the attached resolution regarding cash advance for various school improvements 2026.
Motion has been made and seconded. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Opposed? Roll call vote, Madam Secretary, please.
Alderman Ali.
Yes.
Alderman Bannon.
Yes.
Alderman Bevan.
Yes.
Alderman Brennan.
Yes.
Alderman Casey.
Yes.
Alderman Federico.
Yes.
Alderman Fowler.
No.
Alderman Healy. Alderman Height.
Yes.
Alderman Lombardi.
Yes.
Alderman Pacelli. Alderman Michael Smith.
Yes.
Alderman Winthrop Smith III.
No.
Alderman Vitro.
Yes.
12 yes, 2 no.
The vote was 12 yes, 2 no. The motion passes. Is there any other standing committee reports? Seeing none, we'll move on to special committees. Is there any reports of any special committees? Alderman Brennan.
Thank you. I'd like to provide a brief update from Inland Wetlands regarding our recent receipt of the Storm Ready certification and how that, coupled with our passage of the community rating system item from our January meeting, is positively impacting our residents. Flood zones cover about 1/3 of our city, so it is very important we stay ahead of this issue, and to that end, Milford is the first municipality in New Haven County to earn the Storm Ready certification. As part of Storm Ready, we now have stronger coordination channels in place, including real-time access to National Weather Service updates and forecasting discussions. That allows us to monitor storm developments as they're happening, better anticipate tidal impacts, and proactively deploy measures such as shoreline barriers when needed. We've also formalized communication protocols and preparedness messaging so the city can respond quickly and consistently during storm events. On the CRS side, these efforts contribute additional points, including 25 points tied to this activity once all related components are completed. When combined with other qualifying actions, that positions the city to move up into the next CRS class. Each CRS class improvement results in a 5% reduction in flood insurance premiums for residents who carry flood insurance. So this is both a resilience measure, strengthening our storm preparedness, and a direct financial benefit for our community. So thank you to this board for approving the CRS, and thank you to everyone in Inland Wetlands and other departments who have worked hard to get us the Storm Ready certification. It's paying dividends for our community.
Thank you, Alderman Brennan. Is there any other special committee reports? Seeing none, move on to agenda item number 14. Executive session, there is none. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Excuse me, Mr. Chairman.
Yes,
May
Peter.
I'd just like to make a correction to an earlier answer to Alderman Winsmith III's question about the money being returned to the general fund from the reimbursement. It would actually be the sewer fund, not the general fund, because the allocation transfer came from the sewer fund originally. Thank you.
He did say that because I have it in the notes. It's gonna be returned to the-
I hate to do this, I'm sorry to follow up. Through you, Mr. Chairman. That can be transferred to the general fund once it hits the sewer fund?
Through you, Mr. Chairman, no. The short answer is no to that question. The money came from the sewer fund's fund balance, so technically it would go back to the sewer fund, Fund 12.
And when is that expected to happen?
That would happen after the sewer project or survey is fully completed and done. And if there is a surplus and it's no longer needed, then it would be returned to the sewer fund.
And forgive me, but it's not going to be done, though. It's being paused and potentially canceled. So I'm just wondering when that reimbursement, once it's paused and/or canceled, when does the money come back? When is that expected to happen? Is it this calendar year? Is it in 2 years? When does that happen, logistically?
Through you, Mr. Chairman, I can't give you a set date. I would have to hear from the department, from wastewater, that they were completely done and that no further expenditures or activity was warranted for the line item. And at that point, then the next step would be to request a transfer back to the sewer fund.
Okay, so if I understand correctly, that could happen tomorrow or whenever in the future.
Through you, Mr. Chairman, I wouldn't say tomorrow because we haven't received reimbursement yet. That process has to go forward. Thank you.
Agenda item 14, there is no executive session. Next is, we'll have anybody makes the motion to adjourn. Motion is made and seconded. All in favor? Opposed? Meeting adjourned. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, Madam Secretary.